I have the most amazing treat for you guys. I want to introduce you to a really good friend of mine. Elizabeth and I are really good friends, not from way back, but from recent. And because we have done grief work together, our hearts have intertwined. And there's no doubt in my mind that Elizabeth will be on this journey with me for the rest of my life. And I want to say thank you for that. I was doing a live one night on TikTok. And this young little girl came in and she was like, "Hey, is breakup a romantic relationship a grief?" And it was just so cute. And I was like, "Absolutely." And that's how we met. We met on a live and we've been connected and sharing our grief ever since. And there's some really amazing things I want to share with you about Elizabeth. But before we get into that, Elizabeth, please introduce yourself to our friends.
Hey everybody, I am Elizabeth Keene. I live in the US in Virginia, and my day job is working as a college writing professor. I teach writing, rhetoric, and technical communication classes to predominantly college freshmen. And so that's what I do by day. I also do some consulting work in the technical writing and graphic design field. And yeah, that's what I do most of the time now.
Awesome. I love it. So you were just like going through TikTok and you just happened to stop on my page. You share this story quite often, and I think it's so funny about why is that lady flipping all that paper? Why is she wasting all that paper?
So I was scrolling TikTok as I'm apt to do, and the For You page brought me this bald-headed lady with a marker and a pad of paper. And I just hovered over the live for a minute and I wasn't really even paying attention to what she was talking about. I just saw she was drawing this heart and this line down the middle and this circle in it that said pain and these little spews coming off of it. And then she said something to somebody and she flipped the page again and she drew the heart again and the line down the middle and this pain and like it happened like 5 times within what felt like 30 seconds. And I said, what in the world is this woman talking about? And so I clicked into the live and I stayed for a minute and I listened to what she had to say, and I said, oh my goodness, what if that's what I need?
Yeah.
What if what I'm going through is actually grief? And what if all of these things that I haven't been quite able to put my finger on, that I've felt over the course of my life, that I haven't fully, quote unquote, gotten over, or these things that feel like I'm still carrying with me, what if that's maybe actually some form of grief? And so I stuck around and I listened, and she talked some more, and she went live more, and I came back, and it just became really clear that maybe that's what I need to pursue for some sort of help, for some sort of healing, to just see what it would look like.
And it's so true because now looking back, you
Mhm.
realize, I don't know if you realize, let me ask you if you learned it this way, that a lot of what just junk in your trunk was grief.
Oh my God, like over 20 years worth of stuff. For me,
And
it was grief. Yeah.
the other thing is, Elizabeth, you didn't have a recent death,
No,
loss due to death. You didn't hover over my page because someone had died. You were
no.
just like, what is this crazy lady doing, wasting all this paper?
Yeah.
And as you started to listen, you connected
Mhm.
that you had a lot of junk in your trunk that actually
Yeah.
was.
I had a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. And so at some point you decided, let me go. So you started coming to the study hall, I think, right? At that time I was
I
doing something
did
called
you? I
study
think the
hall.
first thing I ever attended was a master class
Okay.
that you
Okay.
did. I
Okay.
want to say it was on a Sunday, and I joined from outside on my porch, and I don't think I said a word. And at the very end, you were like, "And Elizabeth, do you have anything to share?" Oh my God, here she is calling on me, and I knew it, right? Like I teach virtually, so I use Zoom all the time. And my own students will leave their cameras off so they don't get called on. And I had done that for the majority of the master class. And I was like, well, it's the very end. I'll be polite and say goodbye and turn my camera on. And then you asked me some, I don't even remember what it was, but I was like, oh, well, here we are. And so we connected a little bit in that sort of way. And yeah, just with more and more experience and watching the lives and going to the master class. And then I started coming to study hall to just kind of witness and see what it was about. And I realized, oh, I think there could be something in this for me. I think this work might help me in some way. I was just really curious about it. And
Yeah.
I would describe myself as a genuinely curious person
Yeah.
anyway. Like
Yeah.
I always want to know how things work. And
Yeah.
so it sparked some curiosity there.
So one of the things that happened next is you were joining the group and it didn't work out with timing because of your schedule. And so it just so happened that I absolutely had already fallen in love with you. And I was like, hey, girl, me and you are going to work alone. Look at this. And we just started working alone. It just happened that way. That doesn't always happen, but this is the way that it happened. And I started breaking down grief. There are 47 or more known losses that can cause grief in your heart. I started breaking it down, and you were taking notes and you were listening. You were, and I want to tell you something. I don't know if I ever told you this.
Oh
I was
goodness.
so scared because you're a professor. I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to be judging me.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, but I mean, I really, I think, and that's one of the things I think we are setting out to do for
Yeah,
people in the world is to help them see that so many things are actually grief that they don't
yeah,
fully know
yeah,
is grief. It is not, I hesitate to even say just because just a death is so
yeah,
much more than just a death. A death is
right,
unimaginable.
right,
But it's so much more than simply people who die and
right,
go on, whether that's they die a premature death or an untimely
right,
death, or they live a very long and productive life and still inevitably die.
yeah,
There's so many other those 47 or more other
yeah,
losses
yeah,
are also grieving experiences for
yeah,
people. And I think because people don't know that, they don't know what to do with it. And so
yeah,
they're then given those tropes that we hear all of the time of, well, just get over it or just move on, or why are you still so hung up on that? Or, that happened years ago. Why is that still affecting you
yeah,
now? Time heals all wounds, right? We
yeah,
know that it doesn't.
yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't. Time just passes.
Are you glad that you did the work?
So glad. So glad. It has been the best thing. And I've done a lot of things.
Yeah.
It has been the best thing that I have ever done for myself.
Wow.
It has been the best thing that I've ever done for my family, for my friends, for my people that love me.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's allowing me to show up differently now. It's allowing me not to carry some of that stuff in my
Yeah.
proverbial backpack. I'm
Yeah.
able to set some of it down.
Yeah. When you were actually doing the work, and what surprised you the most, do you think? On for you, what surprised you the most for you? Something that
Of
you
what I
did.
learned or of
Yeah,
what the work
of what
entailed.
you learned. I don't know, care. I don't care. Share anything.
Um, I did not realize so many things from early childhood and
Oh, yeah.
adolescence
Yeah.
and my teenage years.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that that was grief
Oh, yeah.
still, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um, uh, when we started doing the work and I made this giant timeline, right?
Yeah.
Here's me being the extra student. Like, okay, I'm going to do a really good job on my homework. She says to make a graph of everything that you can possibly think of that made you feel any type of way. Well, it was a massive, massive graph,
Color coded.
color coded with years and dates and ages and grades in school and all the things. But that's the first time I'd ever done anything remotely like that.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
concretely see it
Yeah.
right there in front of me, it was like, oh my goodness, of
Yeah.
course I'm carrying some stuff.
Yeah.
And I think if anybody sat down to do it and really tried to do it, earnestly, they too would see, oh my goodness, I have so many little things too. And those little things are like grains of sand in the hourglass of your life. They add up, they
Yeah.
accumulate.
One of the things I was sharing today, and every time I share a story that you've never heard, you're like, new story I've never heard.
New
Was
character unlocked.
was the spanking that I got from my dad. I didn't say it was a spanking, I don't think I'm alive, but in sixth grade, I didn't write my spelling words down. And he came home, and for some reason, he just honed in on me, and my spelling words were written by my mom, and I was studying them. And he sat at the dinner table and he said, what are y'all doing? And we said, our homework. He said, what is everybody working on? And he went around and asked everyone, well, my spelling words were written by my mother. And he's like, why did your mom write these spelling words? Well, it turns out she couldn't keep control of the classroom and she never told us to write down the spelling words, but my mom knew her. She called her and he ended up spanking me. And I think I really felt like it was over the top. I was 12 years old. it was a thing that happened in my childhood
Mhm,
that I just held on to.
mhm,
And here's the deal, when I really got to working on that, it was something that I had pain behind. I had thoughts behind. I had emotions behind. And finding those things, like you were talking about the timeline, finding those things that keep us incomplete is actually, and being able to go after them is healing.
yeah,
It's healing,
absolutely.
right?
You ask about big insights. I would add to just seeing things in that timeline. And another thing that has been huge for me is realizing the difference between our thoughts and what's going on in our
Yes.
intellectual brain and what's
Yes.
going on in our emotions and our heart.
Right.
And I'm somebody who lives in my brain. Like I love
Yeah.
to think, I love to
Yeah.
learn. Have been described by a lot of people as an overthinker. I don't really think I'm an overthinker. I think I'm a deep thinker. But I think because of that, it kept me stuck in ways that maybe somebody who doesn't think that deeply can just move on more.
Yeah.
That they it doesn't have that stickiness factor that for me, for whatever reason, for the way that I'm made up, those things stuck. And so being able to look at, well, that's a thought, and that's
Yeah.
even a story that you're
Yeah.
building around
Yeah.
that thought. And every
Yeah.
time that thought comes in, it's actually going right to your heart and it's making you feel some type of way. And so you
Yeah.
feel like you're on this hamster wheel that you can't get off of. And you yourself feel stuck. You feel frustrated. You want to not feel that way. But I truly didn't know how. I've
Yeah.
received this advice my whole life of you just need to let it go. You just need to get over it. How?
How?
Someone tell me how and I will. And you did.
Yes.
You know,
I
you
showed
did.
you the how,
You
right? So
showed me the
if I go
how.
back to the story with my dad, right? I'm just going
Yeah.
to use your example. If I
Yeah.
go back to the story of my dad, my thought was, dude, this is over the top. It's a bit much, don't you think? You're not listening to my story, right? So I had all these things that I needed to tell him, but also you're mean, right? Thinking this to my dad, but really feeling sad and angry about the situation, right? Really
Mhm.
feeling sad and angry. One of the things that I think that I have elaborated on in the grief is really the thought work,
Mhm.
really going into the thought work, because you and I, we both had to learn this and we've learned it a lot. I'll ask grievers, hey, how do you feel about that? What's your feeling about that? What's your emotion? And quite often they start with, I feel like,
Mhm.
I feel da da da. If we start a sentence with I feel, you and I both know that it's a thought coming right after that.
Mhm.
And their thoughts is what's driving it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How many thoughts did you have?
Millions. Whatever statistic you quoted me that people have on average, however many thousand, I'm
60,000
like,
thoughts a day?
I know mine's double that. I know it is. Like, my brain is constantly going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so being able to slow that down was huge. And
Yes.
being able to unpack it and make sense of it.
And
Look at it
absolutely look at it, right?
different.
Taking of that, the actually connecting the thought work to the emotional work. Okay. You came in,
Hmm.
you started to do your work. One of the things that I tell grievers all the time, and that around the fourth week, it just looks different.
Hmm.
Just looks different. Like you'll come in and you'll tell a joke. You'll come in and you'll laugh. You and I were laughing all the time,
Hmm.
but I could see a change in you. When do you think you started to feel a change?
I would say after I finished my first letter.
After you
Part
finished
of
your
the
first part of
as
the
part of
work?
the process, right? So we made the lifetime graph. We identified some key relationships to really zoom into, to think about, what were memories, what were emotional statements, were there anything that I needed to apologize for? Was there anything I needed to, forgive that person for? And then I sat down to compose that first letter. And again, it was a long one. It was, I was diligent. I tried to be as thorough as possible. And then I met with you and I read the letter aloud. And Sharon, I've never in my life, and I've told you this story, but I'll say it again here. I carry a ton of tension in my neck and shoulders. I have my whole life. I'm just kind of stiff in general. I do a lot of computer work, so I know that doesn't do me any favors. But it was like someone had taken a giant ice cream scoop and scooped that tension out of my neck and shoulders. Like there was a full body
Mhm.
physical release in addition to the mental, emotional, those realms type of release. I've never felt anything like it. And it only happened with that one. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Let's do this again. It has only happened that very first time. Um, but that was huge. And that's when I really was like, oh my goodness, there's something to this.
Yeah.
This
Oh, yeah.
works.
This works. It absolutely works. Why do you think grievers are scared? And I want to clarify this for anybody who's listened to this for the first time. We are all grievers.
Yeah.
We're all grievers. We will all have multiple grieving experiences throughout our life.
Yeah.
We are all grievers. Why do you think grievers are scared to do the work?
I think there's a lot of different reasons. Probably one of the most prominent ones is sometimes we feel like that pain is the last thread of attachment left that we have to our person that we don't have access to anymore,
Yeah.
whether by death or choice or
Yeah.
whatever, the circumstances might be. And that was me. That was one of the reasons I was hesitant. Is I was like, well, at least I've got this. At least I've got this pain. I don't want to be
Yeah.
a martyr forever, but if I have to be a martyr forever, I guess that's my plot in life. And I would tell anybody listening that is not what your life has to look like.
Yeah.
There is another side to it. There is a way through it. It's not going to be easy and it's probably not going to be super fun.
Yeah.
But I can tell you now, sitting on the other side of that work, what a difference.
Oh,
What
yeah.
a
Oh,
difference it's made in every aspect of my life.
oh, yeah.
To just be able to show up and be present in my life,
Yeah.
not worried about what I did in the past and dwelling on that, right? That's when we tend to lean in the direction of clinically depression,
Yeah.
not to hyper focus on the future and worry about what might happen or what might go wrong and all of that fear, and that's in the direction of anxiety, but to as my water bottle here says, or is it, be where your feet are.
Yeah.
You know, be where your feet are. And that was my mantra all the way through it. Is I can't worry about what's happened. It has happened. And there's
Yeah.
nothing I can do to go back and change it. And I
Yeah.
have no idea what the future looks like, but I'm doing this for me to have the skills to be able to survive whatever else happens.
Can you see now, being gone through what you've gone through, how somebody like a Erica could be standing upright? A
Yeah,
mother who has lost two children, who's actually done the deep work.
yeah,
You can actually see now. Like it's unbelievable when
yeah,
I say it, people don't believe me. They're like, there's no way. There's no way she's laughing. There's no way she's living. Are
yeah,
you living now?
100%.
Yeah.
Living in a way that I haven't lived for 20 some years.
Yeah.
And my life looks no different. Like my
Yeah.
life's not magically like perfect or the way I want or any of those things. But yeah, living and again just
Yeah.
enjoying these small little things that used to make me really frustrated or irritable.
Yeah.
Being able to laugh things off that used to get me really worked up
Right.
and,
Right.
and really frustrated and angry and all of that. Like that has changed so much.
I absolutely see that because we have the energy from all of the junk in our trunk and we didn't
Yeah,
realize it was all that junk.
yeah,
I asked you about the Erica thing, not that I wanted you to look into her, but just because you don't believe it's possible.
yeah.
You don't believe healing is truly possible until you've actually experienced it. Share with me what it meant to not only work with me one-on-one, but to come in the groups and read and meet the other women.
So I'll tell the story that you've heard me say before. One of the first questions you ever asked me when we started working one-on-one was, what did little Elizabeth need?
Mm,
And it struck me. It struck me then, like, oh, I've never been asked that. I don't know. Huh, what did she need? And I really sat with it. And I kept doing the work and I kept showing up and all the things. And one day I think I was driving and it just clicked. Little Elizabeth needed this space. Little Elizabeth needed the grief school. Little Elizabeth needed Sharon Brubaker and all of the women who are there that said, you know what? This sucks.
yeah.
This is awful. Like, but we tell the truth there. And I
Mm,
think in so many realms of my life and so many groups and communities and places that I've been, There's been what I would call almost toxic positivity at times of like, well, just smile and get through it, or everything will be okay in the end, right? Like these tropes that we hear. And none of that has ever sat right with me because it's like, that's not the truth. That's not the
Mm,
capital T truth for what I'm feeling right now. And just being able to admit today's hard. You know,
yeah.
I'm heartbroken, or I'm sad, or I'm lonely, or I'm mad, I'm frustrated. Whatever that feeling is, to be able to share that with people that don't flinch.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, that does suck. It makes sense, you know, to be with a community of people who get it.
Go get it.
Um, that is what little Elizabeth needed, and it's what current Elizabeth needs. And I have found so much healing just in the community and in the other
Yeah.
women that show up. And I've learned so much from them. My losses aren't from a death. I mean, I have people who have died who have been important to me. But you know, my personal story is a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah.
But I learned so much from the women who have lost children, the women who have lost, you know, spouses, the women who have lost whatever that they've lost.
Would you recommend the grief school?
100%. Yes, absolutely. I'll be your biggest cheerleader. I'll put my face on a billboard. Yes, 100%. Do it. If you're even remotely considering it, do
All
it.
right. Awesome. I love it. Okay. I want to end here. This is part one. We're going to end it right here. That was your story and your experience. And we have some exciting news to share on the other end. So I'd like to talk about that and everything that we've learned. So I'll see you guys in the next podcast. Catch Elizabeth in part two.